you wake up in the morning full of vim and vigor, ready to start the day? Well, bully for you, I am not. I am very fond of my bed. I like staying snuggled down in it until I absolutely have to get up. And the only time I see a dawn is if I'm still. At least that was the case until a few years ago when my darling husband, who is also a compulsive volunteer, talked me into joining him at the USO at the 6 to 9 a.m. shift. Now, I love my husband, and he would understand if I said, "You're crazy, you don't get up at that hour." But there's something that brings me back every single week. Now, let me explain to you about my Tuesday morning drill. It involves killing the alarm clock. Getting up, getting dressed, getting in the car, driving to Dulles Airport, signing in, sitting down behind the desk, and starting to welcome people as they come in. Last year, Dulles Airport USO greeted 30,000 military personnel and their family members. Now they come through, some of them are between missions, some of them are going on vacation. Lots of different reasons that they come through, but they know they can come and be welcomed and have a cup of coffee and have a place that they can just hang out for a little while. Thanksgiving last year, the manager at the lounge decided that it would be a good idea to have a full Thanksgiving dinner available to people who came in. Now, we knew a whole lot of people wouldn't come in because most people are already there on Thanksgiving, but we still had a few. And one young couple came in who really touched my heart. It's an Army sergeant and his wife, Sergeant Carlos and Maria. Carlos is not an American citizen yet. He joined our Army because he wanted to give to this country. Now, we pointed them over to this huge display of food. He said, "Please, have something." And he and his wife looked at us like, "Well, is that for us?" I said, "Well, it's Thanksgiving." They'd never heard of Thanksgiving. Carlos was from El Salvador. Maria was from Honduras. Maria didn't speak any English, so she didn't know what was going on anyway. So my husband and I started serving them a meal and explaining what Thanksgiving was about. And Carlos was doing a translation to Maria, explaining that we were sharing with them because this was our day that we say thank you for all the blessings that we have. And her eyes got like this because they had no idea that we would do that sort of thing. Being able to teach somebody how much we appreciate things is something that brings me back each week. A few weeks later, we had a visit from an Army captain. His name was Charlie. He came in the door, and he looked really beaten down. Now, well, you get to the point where you can tell the difference between somebody who's beaten down because they caught the red eye from Hawaii, and they have to be at the Pentagon in 45 minutes and have to change their clothes and be presentable. This was a different kind of thing. So I said, "Oh, well, what can we do for you? How can we help you today?" Charlie said, "Well, at Thanksgiving, my sister Cheryl and her new husband John and I all had dinner together in Baghdad because we were all deployed together." And he pulled out a picture and showed me, and here are these three young, smiling faces. He said Cheryl's deployment ended early, so she came back to start setting up the apartment where she and John were going to live. And he paused. He said, "John was killed by IED last week. I'm here to meet Cheryl to go up to Dover Air Force Base and escort John's body home." The look on the man's face. Now, I'm a mother, and my heart was breaking for him. I got out from behind the desk and I gave the man the biggest hug I could, and he cried on my shoulder for 10 minutes. And then he pulled himself together and he went around the corner and got himself a cup of coffee. And he says, I just need some time to be alone. So he sat there and he watched the TV while the pictures flipped by, all the news. He came back out an hour later because Cheryl's plane was almost there. And as he came past the desk, he touched my hand and he said, thank you. And squared his shoulders and walked out the door to meet Cheryl and to take John home. Then there was the day that we had two guys come in, 18, 19 years old. Now, my own kids were about that age right then, and they were typical, cock of the walk, proud of themselves, and they had papers. They were going to the Paris Island Resort for military recruits. And they were so excited, so excited. And they had been up all night flying to Dulles, but they were catching a bus down to South Carolina. I don't know if you've ever been anywhere near Beaufort, but it's a long way down 95. So I looked at the guys, I said, right over here we have a room that's full of lazy boy recliners and blankets and pillows. Why don't you go around there and take a nap? Because you're going to have a really long day and you're going to want to get well rested. We don't need a nap. I said, are you sure about that? And then I heard a chuckle and a cough. And I watched this guy sitting at the couch kind of unfold himself up. And as he turned around, I saw a huge Marine Corps emblem on his shirt. And he walked over to the guys and he said, ladies, I think you need to take this lady's advice, because this may be the last nap you have for the next 12 weeks. And they did these. And the sergeant chuckled again, and he went around and he said, I want to go freshen up my coffee, and laughed all the way around the corner of the coffee. And they looked at each other, and they looked at me, and they went and took their naps. So why do I keep doing this? I was brought up by a former Air Force Staff Sergeant. So I'm the daughter of military, I'm the niece of military, I'm the sister of military, I'm the cousin of military, and I'm the mother of military. These people are my family. I was brought up to give service and love giving service. And we hear stories like this every day. I had to work weeks to pare this down to just these few stories. These people are wonderful, and they need to be thanked. I'm a volunteer in a very small way. These people volunteer their lives. And this is the best way I can think of to say thank you to them. Thank you.